In less happy news, we're going straight down with the happy news tonight.
I'm glad this rundown is the way it is. We're on it.
We're gonna
Let's
end
go.
on a high note. I think we're gonna end on a high note, but
I think we're gonna end on a high note.
Yeah.
This one is half sad, half I'm actually kind of happy, and I'll explain why in a minute.
okay. As of Sunday, and I actually remember seeing the tweets about this because I follow and by association know some of the people and you know, from a very, very far away kind of thing. But G4TV was shut down basically in an email sent to employees Sunday night. In fact, on the West Coast, it was like during Sunday Night Football, I was cooking dinner and I started seeing the tweets blowing up. And none of the staff at G4TV knew about it. So I don't know if they just like hit send or like meant to schedule the send for Monday morning or what, but the staff at G4TV that were still around found out they were going to be without a job Sunday night, which is stupid.
Yep.
Not only does it hurt me a little bit that G4TV is shutting down, because I think there's a lot of brilliant people that work on that show, work on that whole network, all the shows on it. I was very happy to see a lot of the personalities to come back, at least in the early stages of G4TV. Some have moved on, like Blair Herter moved on to go work at a game studio. Some of the other folks that were there that kind of came in to try to like revive it a little bit, and then were always meant to sort of take a step back. Like Kevin Pereira, he started Attack of the Show. He's sort of an old school G4TV person. You know, he admitted from the beginning, he was like, look, I was coming in there, I was helping getting a set up, and then I wanted to pass it off to the next generation. You know, that was the whole plan from the beginning. So it sucks to kind of see this happen, and happen only after a year. Is very abruptly after a year. Now you said that you were sort of relieved to see it. Tell me.
Happy.
Okay. Tell me why.
Here's the thing. I feel bad for all the people who lost their jobs. That's a terrible thing to do it. And Comcast-owned company Spectator, which was running G4TV, you should be fucking ashamed of yourselves for how you did that. At the very least, send your staff a text before you send out a tweet where the completionist is the one saying, oh, great, this is how I found out I lost my job, as a tweet.
Yep.
You know, that is absolutely fucking this. But please note who I said owned this network.
Right. Okay.
Comcast, right? Fuck Comcast.
Did Comcast make the choice, or did the Spectre company make it?
Spectator's a subsidiary of Comcast, so I'm sure it's all one and the same essentially. The fact of the matter is, at the end of the day, screw Comcast. This thing was full of hubris. It was never going to work the way that they wanted it to do. The fact that it was Comcast and Spectator, like who tried to revive this thing, I was like, oh, this thing's dead in the water unless they do it just the right way, and it was dead in the water.
Yeah.
Dead in the water. Why? Because you've got these legacy companies like Comcast, Spectator, who are trying to build networks in the old media style. Okay. When G4TV went away the first time, what replaced it?
Nothing.
YouTube.
Well, YouTube, yeah.
YouTube replaced the shows, right? And there's so many creators on YouTube now. Back when G4 was first a thing, there was no YouTube, there was no Twitch, right? And so what would end up happening is you've got these shows on G4, tech shows about PC builds and how to do all this stuff. You've got things like Attack of the Show and X-Play, which are the only places you can get video content about video games, tech, nerdy crap, okay? When G4 went away, all that shit got replaced by YouTube. There are so many creators on YouTube who do it well, who do it better, right? And so if you want to watch stuff about, you can go look at Linus Tech Tips. You can go watch. You can go watch.
I wish we didn't have to.
You can go watch how many video game YouTubers who do such a good job reviewing games, doing playthroughs, doing tips and tricks. All the stuff that G4TV did originally, YouTubers do.
I'll say maybe to that, because nobody can touch. Nobody can touch Adam Sessler on a video game review. Full stop. Never seen anybody that can do it better than Adam Sessler can.
But here's the thing. Nobody's tuning into Adam Sessler on G4 TV at 6 p.m. on a freaking Wednesday. We don't do appointment television anymore.
We don't do appointment television. And part of the thing that, and I was a huge G4 TV person because it was one of the few channels that I actually were able to get back in the day. I didn't know how to watch this version of G4 TV. I didn't see anything in TikTok. I didn't see anything in Instagram. I didn't see anything in Twitter. I didn't see the other untraditional places that you would think the content would show up, right? And by all means, you and I don't have the gigantic following or anything like that. But, like, we make the effort to put our content on as many platforms as we possibly can. Because we know that people watch content in many different ways. If I had enough time... If I could quit my day job and have enough time, I would put and clip these things and make YouTube shorts out of some of this stuff. And we would figure out the TikTok thing and all like that, because that is where people are these days. And it's one of the main issues. And don't get me wrong, I'm a huge Adam Sessler fan. I follow him on Twitter. I'm a huge Xavier Woods, or Austin Creed, as he's got to go from outside of the ring. He's all over the place as well. I follow and talk to Blair Herter every once in a while on Twitter. You know, and a lot of these other folks that are in there, like, you know, Alana Pierce is big on or no, she wasn't involved with that. But
no, she was at Rooster Teeth.
She was at Rooster Teeth, which we'll get to in a second. But like a lot of those kind of things, like all of these people, but like I never caught a ton of places where like to go see that, and some of that might be on me, but
no, they tried to advertise it. They advertised it and they structured it like a traditional media channel.
Yeah.
Okay. G4 TV should have been an online first channel, right? They should have been cutting their stuff for 10 to 12 minute YouTube segments and then porting that over to the Comcast channel and running ads between, right? But they were doing it traditional media first and occasionally throwing stuff over to YouTube and Twitch. They were doing it, but the other thing too is they did it backwards. And I'm sure it's because the management staff over there was trying to run it like a traditional media network, which you cannot do with this kind of stuff. Okay, not anymore. There's too many good creators out there. There's too many good people who do this now.
I would have loved to have seen G4 TV be and you could have broadcasted it on YouTube 24/7 for all I care. Like where it's, or, you know, and YouTube could have been the live stream kind of thing. And you still could have done your standard commercial breaks and things like that, or sponsorships or what have you. Like you could have done the same things and done them as premieres. You could have done Attack of the Show every day at a certain time on YouTube and you know, have commercial breaks, because the thing about YouTube is you can live stream to YouTube and you got to stop it after 23 hours and 35 minutes or some shit like that, or something like that. So it's like you can't make a 24-hour news network, so to speak, but like you could fill enough content in the day to keep because there's not that many people that work necessarily at G4. We're talking about a couple dozen people that are putting it together, you know?
They're talking about the amount of money financially they needed to make. That was why they shut the thing down. I think they hired and paid like a traditional media network.
Yeah.
They weren't, and this is the other thing too, like YouTubers have figured it out and Twitch streamers have figured it out. They know how to create high quality, just as good, right, content for a quarter, a tenth of what G4 is spending. I saw the sets for G4 TV for the relaunch, right? Those things cost them 150, 160,000 each to build.
No.
Yeah.
No. I'm telling you, you're low.
Oh, I might be low.
Yeah.
Fine, then I'm low.
Remember, I do this for a living.
you didn't need to spend that money.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't.
Actually, I mean, you could. So the thing about the sets is you could have still spent that. I mean, you think about something like a Critical Role or others like that, right? Like that set costs several $1,000s, in the tens of thousands.
Right, but not in the hundreds of thousands, which is what G4 was spending.
Yeah, but if you think about the way that you think about the way you set up one studio space for multiple shows in one shot, you could do that. You know, ESPN, and you could do this easily. Like ESPN and TNT have one big soundstage that they wheel in the different desks for the different like sports programs and all this kind of stuff, and they use these video monitors behind them to like change up the scenery and things like that. Like, it could be done. Like, you can do that easily. But it's the trying to get people to go watch it on traditional even if you spent 200 grand, okay? Like, we can go get a small business loan for like 200 grand and say we're going to start a TV studio, okay? With good high quality 4K cameras, the whole 9 yards, yada yada yada. And that's money that can actually carry you in a couple quarters worth of the build and everything like that. The problem that I was running into again is where to find the content to go then, because if you can show advertisers that you're getting the eyeballs, then you're going to continue to get the ad revenue. But they never did get the sponsorships either. Like back in the day with G4, you could come in and you could get, I'll just use G Fuel for just pulling out the weed, but like you could have a G Fuel sponsorship or whatever like that that's in there or something, right?
The reason they're not getting the sponsorship is this. G Fuel's got to pay a YouTuber, right? And I'm sure it's because the ad sales guys over at G4 were treating it like a traditional media network, right?
It could be. I don't know. I don't know from behind the scenes, but
I don't either. I'm just guessing. Okay. But G Fuel can go to a YouTuber like Angry Joe. And I guarantee you what Angry Joe's asking them to do when they sponsor a video of his that gets 5 million views is way less than G4 was asking for less eyeballs. I'm certain of it. That's the thing, is they're not getting the sponsorships because G4 is going, no, this is what you got to pay us. And G Fuel's going, why are we going to pay you that? We can pay 5 YouTubers who are combinedly getting 20 million views a day for a quarter of the cost.
Yeah. And I think that's the interesting kind of thing too, is because like, and it's funny because I actually went to G4TV's website actually while we were talking about this. And it's like G4TV is on YouTube and it's like live, Monday through Friday and all this kind of stuff. G4TV has 133,000 subscribers. That's it.
That's my point. Something they were doing was not getting people onto their channels on the other stuff, because I don't think their strategy focus was toward YouTube and Twitch first. They had such a cultural cachet. They had such brand recognition. When they relaunched, people were thrilled. Yeah. Thrilled. The only reason you have 133,000 subscribers on YouTube is because you weren't trying.
Yeah, I'm blown away by some of those numbers. Like, and again, I'm not trying to sit here from a...
I'm going to go look at their Twitch channel.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to sit here like from a giant, like, oh my God, I'm such a big streamer, blah, blah, blah. But it's a Comcast-owned thing. Like, you can buy 100,000 subscribers just in ad revenue, in paid social media. Right? Like, you could do that. Wow. Alex put himself on mute.
One of my favorite film YouTubers, he's a great film YouTuber in my opinion. He's my favorite one. I watch his show every day, right? He's where I get my film news. He's connected. He's got good stuff, and he's not crazy, right? He is a dude. He's got 309,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
He's like a medium channel, right? G4 has less than John Campia. Okay.
And a lot of these things have been streamed, I guess. They streamed them at the same time.
Yeah. Let's go for the aforementioned Angry Joe show. Angry Joe has 3.3 million subscribers.
Yeah.
What'd you do, G4? You've got money. You've got Comcast money behind you.
Well, apparently not.
Well, like, you had it.
You had it.
and you couldn't make this work?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm interested to know if
Game Theory has 16.2 million.
I'm interested to and here's the kind of thing too, is like, why didn't you partner with some more people like that? Or was that in the cards? Would YouTubers take a little bit more of a steady income stream with that?
from some of the YouTubers I've talked to, first off, some of the YouTubers that I've talked to in the past about how they run their channels and things like that, the people who have significant subscribers, one of the things they say is they won't partner with somebody like a G4 because they like their independence. They do this because nobody can tell them what the hell to do. This is why a lot of the MCNs have finally gone away, the multi-channel networks, because the MCNs were trying to run it like traditional stuff and they eventually pissed everybody off.
Yeah.
Why would I go work if I'm Game Theory and I've got 16.2 million subscribers? Why am I even going to bother with you, G4, until you're on my level? Like, why would I work for someone else?
Yeah.
Right? Why?
I'm interested to know if anybody's going to talk about or give us like an inside look as to what happened and where the financials went wrong.
They'll be buried in Comcast numbers somewhere.
I really am going to be interested in this because they had a ton of content that they put out. Maybe it was too much content and they should have started early and often with just Attack of the Show and like one other thing, maybe. And then ramped it up. And built that bridge organically and stuff like that. And tried to do things that maybe only people that have the Comcast relationship in terms of getting into things like conventions, interviews, stuff like that. Maybe that would have done it a little bit differently. I don't, it's hard to kind of say, but it did, as much as like you want to try to get on the G4 kind of pieces and stuff, like it's insane to me that it didn't take off. I'm still flabbergasted that it didn't take off. I am very, look, the people who have lost their jobs out of this kind of thing, it sucks for them, but I think it's going to suck for them temporarily, because I think everybody that was working at G4TV is probably going to bounce back in a role somewhere.
I bet you half the people working for G4TV could start a YouTube channel tomorrow and have more subscribers than G4TV did.
I mean, Austin Creed alone, if he needs anybody to help support his channel is Up, Down, Down has got amazing followers. It's partnered with WWE, which only made it bigger. He got the nod from the brass at WWE to continue featuring wrestlers and stuff like that. Like, that dude hit gold. 100% hit gold. If he needs anybody that could help carry that, like, that's the thing, is the quality of the shows in G4, I think, were still pretty good. When you could find them. When you could find them.
They were fine. They were okay shows, and all the people there were very talented. The completionist who got fired from G4, his YouTube channel has 1.56 million subscribers.
Yeah,
and I'm saying, like, the biggest problem for this is that they went traditional media model first, traditional cable model first, and they ran it like a TV show.
Yeah,
right, like a TV network. You cannot do that anymore, right? It can be done just as well or reasonably well for less money on YouTube.
Yeah,
and Twitch.
Well, right? And I think that's an interesting point, is that the way that the shows came out and stuff like that, like, and we know this from our own stuff. It's why we chopped this up for the YouTube channel, an hour and a half long TV show or podcast, as we do for here, or videocast, vlogcast, whatever we want to call this kind of thing. We think about it like it's a TV show because we're live and we got studio lights and we're all this kind of stuff, and like, but that's the professionalism thing for us. We chop it up when it goes up on the YouTube channel because we know that people are in the TikTok generation. They want to see something quick, right? And they want to get a hit and then they want to move along.
Yeah,
with it.
90-minute shows just don't play.
Yeah, unless it's sports, and even then, sports viewership is kind of on the decline. So, yeah,
yep.
I'm sad for G4. I'm hoping that everybody lands on their feet with some of this stuff, especially some of the big personalities that are in there. I know that they had a ton of layoffs, so that some of this stuff was a little bit written on the wall, but it still kind of sucks to see like an icon of that just die a second death. And maybe it could come back sometime in the future. Maybe that somebody can take up the G4 name and kind of give some life into that, but do it more for this YouTube and Twitch generation versus the TV generation. We'll see.